Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Yeah, time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking. Time to get real.
Woo-wee! Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Rebecca L. Norrington, Global Happiness Specialist. That's right, 2021. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. Woo! As usual, I feel like I'm shot out of a cannon. It was funny, I was trying to program the show earlier, and of course then I lost it and I had to do it all over again 15 minutes, 10 minutes before the show's supposed to go live. Rah! It's Reality Spirituality. And when I say Global Happiness Specialist, let me introduce myself. Let me introduce myself to the new listeners. Let me introduce myself to 2021. When I say Global Happiness Specialist, who I am is how to, scratch who I am. What I share is how to experience more happiness, how to sustain and maintain happiness regardless of your circumstances, regardless of what happens, and regardless of what doesn't happen. This show, this radio show, Reality Spirituality, is a how-to in our everyday lives. I don't talk theory. I don't talk philosophy. I don't talk hypothetical. I talk, this is a what's the problem, what's the solution, and finding the solution and also maintaining your happiness. And let me just give my definition of happiness. Happiness is the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. You know, when you have those expectations and you want something to happen and it doesn't happen, how to be at peace with that, regardless of the circumstances. This is my definition of happiness. And when I say happiness, I'm talking about being rooted in peace, contentment. Actually, not only being rooted, but being identified. Identity. Your identity is peace. Your identity is contentment. Your identity is balance. Your identity is who you are is a chill, easygoing person. Someone that knows that this peace within is always there, is always with you, never leaves, ever. So it's about how to connect to, lock into, stay connected to that peace. And I use the word happiness, and the word happiness can be interchanged with contentment, peace, balance. You know that vibration that I'm talking about. And so this show, Reality Spirituality, shares with my audience, shares with you how to do that. How to do it when you're in the middle of the storm. It's easy to be happy when the sun is shining and the birds are chirping and everyone's holding hands. But what happens when the sun is not shining? What happens when that tornado hits? Because let's be real here. Life is a roller coaster. Regardless of your energy, regardless of your vibration, life is a roller coaster. But the good news is this roller coaster that we are all on, and just because I'm a happiness specialist doesn't mean that I'm not challenged every single day. So this roller coaster that we're on, it's like riding the roller coaster when you're tense, when you're scared, when you're anxious, when you're, that kind of ride, or riding the roller coaster with enjoyment, with excitement, with anticipation, with curiosity, and being okay with uncertainty. See, this happiness is a practice skill. And so what I share with you on the show is how to practice, what to practice. Happiness is a practice skill. And if I can do it, you can do it. If I can practice it, you can practice it. And what is there to practice? What is there to practice? Well, let me ask you a few questions for 1A21, and these are just yes or no questions. Yes or no? Listen, I'm really big at getting out all the fog and all the clouds and on the fence. These are, as Judge Judy would say, answer yes or no. Yes, I'm a fan. Answer yes or no. And so my questions to you in this new year, 2021, do you trust that everything that's happening is for your betterment, or also known as your personal growth, your spiritual growth, for your growth? That is, everything that happens to you is here to serve you, whether it feels like it, whether it's comfortable. It's what you experience, what comes to you, what the universe brings to you is really a gift. So the question, after all of that, the question is, do you trust that everything that happens to you is for your betterment? That is either yes or no. Do you trust that the universe will always have your best interest in every moment of your life? In other words, the universe is here to serve you. Do you trust that? Do you believe that? Because if you say yes, then that means you act like it, right? That means you act like it in all the moments. That means you vibrate that in all the moments. That means your energy is, if your energy is trust, I mean, that's a big percentage right there. Trust, acceptance, surrendering, letting go. Do you believe that everything that happens is in perfect order? I think I'm saying the same thing more than once. How about this one? This is something that really subtracts from happiness. Thinking that anything is serious. Let me back up a little bit. Because I jumped ahead a little. Let me back up. Because I have new listeners every week, and I just have to make myself clear, back up, and just a little bit more foundation. So when I say happiness is a practice skill, it's like any other skill. The more you commit to the practice, and it is daily, the more you commit to the practice, the better the results. So my other question to you is, are you committed to the practice? How committed are you to prioritizing your happiness over everything else? And when I say your happiness, I'm not talking about, it's my happiness. No, I'm talking about your vibration, your vibration of peace. How important is that to you in every moment? We can experience whatever the universe throws at us, but the response. So, are you responding to what is thrown at you, or are you reacting? Because a response is a chosen action, and chosen action. And a reaction is just a programmed reaction. Let's see, let me give a good example. Let me give you an example of something that's programmed. Because my second book, the one that's going to be out this year, for sure, I have a whole year to finish it. My second book is called Programmed for Unhappiness. So the programming is when you lose your wallet, do you have a programmed response, or is there a different response? In other words, and I'm probably, let me be even more clear. This programming, when I say programming, is so deeply rooted that it takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes a lot of awareness. It takes a lot of consciousness to, when something happens, to not just react to it, but to digest it, and then respond to it. So there's a difference between reacting based on sharp reaction. You lose your wallet, somebody dies, you get news about a health issue. Those are, and you react. A response is something that is not programmed. A response, you usually can take a pause. You usually pause before any response, because the responses are always with an underlining question that, am I adding to my happiness when I respond this way, or am I subtracting? See, the first part of the practice starts with gradually eliminating the behaviors that have been proven to subtract from happiness. And there are a lot of behaviors that subtract from happiness. So the practice is eliminating those behaviors that subtract and nurturing those behaviors that have been proven to add to your happiness. Cultivating the behaviors that add. Now, some of the behaviors that subtract from happiness are having expectations, comparing yourself to others, worrying, lack of acceptance, believing words have power, attachments, noticing what someone else is doing, and impatience. Those are just some of the behaviors that subtract from happiness. The behaviors that add to your happiness are acceptance of yourself and others, trust, blind trust, not taking anything personally, laughing, self-awareness, humbling your ego, choosing your focus, choosing your perspective, letting go of anything that you cannot control, and being okay with uncertainty. Those are just a few. And today's show is really, I made a comment just yesterday, and I thought about my comment, or I made a statement, and I thought about my statement, and my statement was true at the time that I said it. But after I digested it, thought about it, talked, you can feel something even the smallest, the story about the pea under the mattress. The pea under the mattress there, when there is a pea under my mattress, and I don't mean pea, I mean an actual pea, one of those little beans, not a bean, it's a, I watched, what was it called, Jack and the Giant Slayer. That's the name of the movie. I watched that yesterday. Anyway, I digress. So let's just say beans, because I watched Jack and the Beanstalk yesterday. Jack the Giant Slayer, that's the name of it. So let's say there's a bean under your mattress. So I'm talking about feeling that there's one little, when you're really conscious and you are aware, self-aware, and you're really into your vibration and you can feel your energy shift, those beans are very, very easy to feel. So I made a statement, and there was a bean I'm going to go back to pea. I don't like bean. There was a pea under the mattress that I could feel all night. And this morning, I made a statement that I didn't make a statement. I shared with you that my son is here visiting, and I made a statement. Yesterday to him about the house. Everybody's so particular. Not everybody. Let me just speak for myself. I'm just very particular about smells. Smells in the house, cooking smells. I like fresh air, fresh smells. I don't like to have a lot of onion smells, a little garlic smells in the house. The cooking smells. And so he burned something in the house, and now I'm thinking, meaning that, he's cooking and he was burning something. And so now I got a burnt smell in the house, and I said, the windows, I need the windows open. I don't want any smells. I was going on and on about the smell, how I liked a fresh smell in the house. And then this morning, because that pee, it was under my mattress, and then this morning I said, you know what, Nathan? Scratch everything I said. Scratch everything I said yesterday about the smells. I said, because number one, you're not the only one cooking here. I cook and I make smells too. Number two, I want you to feel, this isn't a house here. We don't live in a house. We live in a home. And this is your home too. This is your home too. So I want to, and this is anybody that comes into this house. I say house, but anybody that comes in. The vibration that I want to give and to share is a feeling of comfort, a feeling of I'm at home, a feeling of comfortability. And especially my only son, I said, you know what? Scratch that. Cook, do whatever you want to do. Burn up anything you want. I want you to feel at home. I'm done with the rules about the smells in the house, which also having a preference subtracts from happiness. I mean, there's so many solutions, from getting an air purifier to one of those, the machines that takes all the odors out of the air, all of that. So what am I doing barking and saying, being conscious? And I burn things in the house too. So it's really monitoring self and letting go of saying something, letting go of a bold statement, which is the topic of today's show. And the topic of today's show is it okay to change your mind when you've made a promise? Now, this is a big one, because if you are constantly growing and evolving and changing and being conscious of it, conscious of your growth, what you were interested in yesterday is not what you are going, no, scratch that, is not, may not be what you are interested in today. What happened yesterday may not even interest you today. I don't care if you've done something for 50 years. I used to lead a holiday hiking club. It was probably, 10 years plus, maybe even longer than that. Holiday hiking club. Every holiday we would hike. And there came a time where I was done. I wasn't interested in leading a holiday hiking club. I mean, I don't mind hiking, but I don't want to lead it. I'm not going to be with the organizer anymore. So the question becomes, is it okay to change your mind when you've made a promise, especially when you've made a promise to the people in your life and the people that you love and the people that are the closest to you? Now, I'm going to throw out there that it is okay of course it is okay to change your mind. And even if you've made a promise, I promise to, what if it's go out in the garden? I promise to go out in the garden and pull the weeds. I'm just trying to come up with an example. I'll do that on Wednesday. And then Wednesday rolls around and you don't feel like doing it, or for whatever reason. That's probably not the best example, but it's the only example I can think of on the fly. That's right. This show is non-scripted, non-rehearsed. It's just freestyle. Freestyle. And so you change your mind, but then the other one says, you're the person that's maybe living with you, or your wife, your husband, your partner, your whoever it is, says, well, you promised. And then, yeah, I did promise, but I changed my mind. And the question becomes, is it okay to change your mind even when you've made a promise? In my personal life, if someone asks me, let's see what's coming up, a holiday. I remember the last example was Halloween. I was asked to go to a Halloween party 2 weeks before the party. It was at least 2 weeks before the party. And I told her, I said, I don't know if I'm going to want to attend the party until that day. That is what I'm talking about, because if you are always expanding, and you're growing, and you're paying attention to, in other words, you're aware of your growth, and you're paying attention to, you're always refocusing, you're always readjusting, you're always rethinking, you're always redoing, there is always some kind of flux. You go outside into nature, even the dirt particles aren't in the same position, the same position as they were the day before. So this is a constant, this world, this life is a constant adjustment, is a constant change, it's a constant in flux, in flow. It's always shifting. And so which naturally means so are you. You're always shifting. You're always, unless you're not. Okay? Unless you're not. Unless you're one of those wonderful types who eats breakfast at 8:05, has lunch at 12:30. You know, you drive home the same route. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but that type, it might be a little bit more challenging to let go of, or not to let go of, to change your mind. To change, it might be a little bit challenging. So I'm proposing that if, and especially the people that are really locked into scheduling, I propose that whatever schedule you have, you add a minute, 2 minutes to it, change it up 2 minutes, change up your schedule by a minute, change up your schedule by 2 minutes, change up whatever you do, change the way that you drive home, change the route, shift it up. This is a new year, 2021. Shift it up, shake it off, shift it up, and change is not comfortable. Change is challenging, but the more you do it, the more you practice, the more you implement just a very small change, and then you are aware of it and you celebrate your change, guess what happens? A month passes, year passes, 2 years, and you may become unrecognizable. Meaning, of course, we all do, meaning, when I say unrecognizable, meaning in here we go. Let me shift a little bit. I'm talking about being rigid versus being rigid and the opposite of being rigid. Being rigid versus just flowing. Which feels good to you? Rigid, stuck, same, not moving, same, or just a little different, a little shift, a little flow. My son and I do an exercise routine in the morning, and it might be this one exercise, 2 exercises, maybe 10 exercises are the same, but there's always a new exercise that we throw in. There's always a new something else that we throw in. And so that's really what I'm talking about. When I say, is it okay to change your mind when you've made a promise, that question is to you, And the answer really comes from someone else that you're close to, meaning is whoever you are close to and you've changed and you've made a promise and you said, I've changed your mind, are they open to you changing your mind? Are they open to you shifting and saying, you know what, I know I said I wanted to do this yesterday or last week, but I'm just not inspired to do that today. So the question is, the people that are around you, are they open to you changing and you shifting and you saying, you know what, I changed my mind. It doesn't mean you don't still love them, doesn't mean you don't still care. It just means that you're not inspired to do something that you promised to do before, the day before, 2 days before, a week before, because those promises get tricky. They really get tricky, and I am amazed at the people that can plan something, and then it's set. But what if there is a shift? So say I say yes, I'm going to go to I might as well New Year's Day celebration, and then the morning of the celebration, I'm just not feeling it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go. I don't want to get dressed. Maybe I don't even want to interact with people. My point is, what do you do? What do you say? And the people that are in your life, are they open to you shifting and changing, regardless of what you said? It's really changing your mind. Plans change. Life change. Nature change. They're always in flux. This is a changing life. Even the illusion of trying to control the opposite. In other words, I know there's a real a resistance to any change. I recognize that. I mean, I've got my hands up saying, recognizing a resistance to change. However, when I say happiness is a practice skill, the practice becomes being open to any kind of shift and being very, very, very conscious of, self-aware to your vibration and what are you inspired to do. Are you inspired or are you obligated? It's a totally different vibration. It's a totally different feeling. And I'm not saying one is better than the other, even though that obligation is a very heavy thing for me. It may be a different feeling for someone else. Not maybe, it probably is. And that's the other thing. We are as different as our fingerprints, and that's the most important, one of the important things is when you say to someone that you love, you know what, I changed my mind. I really don't want to. I'm really not feeling it. And, it could even be from the smallest to the intimate to the biggest decision, even a purchase, even a huge purchase. No, and you can get to the point. I mean, say you're buying a car. You can get to the point where you see the car, you love the car, you test drive the car. You said yes. You said the down payment. You got your down payment for the car, and then you go in to sign the papers. You got your pen in your hand. You have your pen in your hand, and you say, you know what? Something just doesn't feel right. I changed my mind. It even goes. Let's take it to another step. There was one person that I knew. They were getting married, and the other person changed their mind. Now, the problem was they changed their mind, and nobody knew it until the wedding day. You've heard those stories about people that just don't show up, or people that, the bride or the groom that says, hey, not feeling this is not for me. And that's what I'm saying. The courage to change your mind and stay with, and no. Honor, and I don't even want to say honor. The courage to change your mind and to embrace changing your mind and knowing that it's okay. See, if you're always changing and you're always not changing your mind, but if you're always growing, you're changing. So, of course, you're going to be changing your mind. I know I keep saying changing your mind because it's come up the last 2 weeks so much that when I've made appointments or promised or said, yes, I'm going to be in this group, yes, I'm going to speak here, and then it just doesn't feel like a fit. Now, here we go. Now, we have some people that would say, well, that's flaky, that word flaky. I can't count on you. I've heard that. I can't count on you. You say you're going to do something. Why can't you commit to it? And this is what I say. You're absolutely right. Label me flaky. Label me flaky, because if I'm not inspired, it's not going to be good for me, and it's definitely not going to be good for you if I'm somewhere that I don't feel like being. Now, of course there are exceptions, and I'm talking business now. I'm really talking business exceptions. But I'm going to throw in, even if I have plane reservations, you've heard of people that are so in tune to their intuition that they have a flight scheduled and something inside of them could not let them on that flight. They just said, you know what? No, this feeling. I'm not feeling this flight. I'm not going to get on that plane. And sometimes, I remember a very distinct story with 9/11. There was a young man who said, I don't feel like going into work today. I don't know why. He didn't say he was sick, but he says, there was some kind of feeling. I did not go into work. And he worked at the World Trade Center. You've heard stories like that all the time. So my point is to really be in tune, to practice being in tune to you and what are you vibrating, and are you operating on inspiration, or are you just robotically, this is what I do all the time, and this is how it is. Being open to change, not only being open to change, but being open to self and feeling. So listen, when I say be your own best friend, it is really about tuning into self and being courageous enough to say, I'm not feeling it. And then some people would say, well, why? Well, why, Rebecca? Why did you change your mind? Or why aren't you going to do this? And I said, I just changed my mind. I just wasn't feeling it. It just didn't feel good to me. Now, if you say it just didn't feel good to me to someone that loves you, that is enough, right? Isn't that enough? Isn't that enough? I'm not feeling it. It doesn't feel good to me, to someone that loves me. How do they come back after you're saying it just doesn't feel good to me? Only you can answer that. When I say change, refocus, redoing, it's restructuring. It's constant. The change is constant. When you pay attention, when you focus in on self and the need, when I say needs, listen, the needs are in any moment, balance, shoulders down, ease, relax. You know the difference between feeling anxious and feeling at peace. And all I'm saying is the whole point of all of this, it's okay to change your mind, is that the peace that you feel for self, the self-peace, can only be monitored by you. You're the only one that can scratch that you're the only one, because people get filled up by a lot of things, so scratch that you're the only one. But how do I say this? Let's see, hold on, let me just gather my thoughts real quick, because I'm trying to make a point, but I'm fumbling around how to say it. I'm only going to use myself as an example. When I change my mind and I do it, okay, let me give you a perfect example. This just happened yesterday. Perfect example. Thank you, universe, for saving me from the mumbling and the bumbling. I went to pick up a prescription yesterday, and of course, because of the new year, the pharmacist was out on New Year's Day, so the day after New Year's, they're short-staffed. You know, not everybody, but people take off. And there were two people working in the pharmacy, and I went to the drive-through. And and I was the first one in the drive-through. So I sat there, and, you know, you look in, there's nobody around. It probably about maybe 5 minutes. I'm very patient. That's another thing. Patience. When you're rushing, when you're anxious, and with patience brings a lot of peace, everyone. Patience brings a lot of peace. And this medication, this prescription, had been overdue for almost 2 weeks. They filled it, but then the insurance didn't deny the authorization. Now I got to go to the insurance. I mean, it was a whole production over this one medication. So anyway, I was the first one in line, and I'm looking. Maybe about 8 minutes, I pushed the button. I pushed the call button, and the lady came out, and she says, "You know, we're short-staffed. It's going to be a minute." Now, meantime, there were 4 cars behind me that were waiting. I haven't even been helped yet. So it was one of those drive-through pharmacies. So I sat there, and then now I looked behind me, and sure enough, one car after another, everyone left. All the cars left. I was the only one waiting, and when she finally got to me, it was a half hour, and I'm not exaggerating. It might have been a little over a half hour. And, of course, they're very apologetic, and I said, don't worry about it. And again, I haven't had the medication for almost 2 weeks. It's you know, with this new year, new medical change, new all of that. So she says, we filled it, but because the insurance didn't authorize it yet, it was a bigger copay. I said, no, I'll come back. Bottom line is I went away for 30 minutes. She said, come back in 30 minutes. I came back in 30 minutes, really an hour and a half later. Now there's another line. I sat in the line. No, that's not my point. Scratch that. That was my point. So in that 30 minutes, I went to Costco. And the parking lot was full. Usually it's hardly anybody here. It's a very small town. Very small town. You can always get parking. You could always get parking at the front in Costco. But for this day, it wasn't. And I'm looking at all of these people going in and out. And I sat in the car and I said, you know, I'm not going in. I changed my mind. All of that whole long story to say this. Changing your mind can happen when you're really, really, really in tune with self a lot of times during the day. From changing your mind to the food you want, from changing your mind to what you want to do, from changing your mind to talking to somebody, from changing your mind to calling someone, from changing your mind to texting. This change in your mind is constant when growth is happening. When there's growth, you will always be changing your mind, right? Because if you're growing, things change. When I say refocusing, regrouping, adjusting, readjusting, relocating with this pandemic and COVID, it is a mass relocating of a lot of people from one state out to another state, going from this state to another state, mass relocating, changing their mind. People that have been wanting to live in California, listen, I've been in California all my life, wanting to live in California, and they're out, changing their mind. Be open to change, and it's okay to change your mind when you are not feeling it, when you are not vibing it, when you are not feeling it. And so with that not feeling it, that means that you are in tune to you. You are in tune to yourself. You are in tune to that inner self. Changing your mind regardless. Life is change, and it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your mind when you've made a promise. It's okay to change your mind. And the consequences, listen, the consequences, if they do come from other people, if the consequences are from other people because they're disappointed or they had expectations or they thought and you promised, well, mine is, I'm not responsible for your feelings. I'm not responsible for how you feel. I can't make you feel a certain way. I can only say this, that I'm changing my mind. I know I made a promise, and if that isn't okay, all I can do is hug you and give you a kiss. But it's really about being an advocate for self. An advocate for self, an advocate for self and self-peace and self-growth. That is the point today. So are you practicing behaviors that are going to add to your happiness? And that is a practice. Being able to change your mind, being able to be open, being able to tell someone else, you know what? No, thank you, I changed my mind. I know there's going to be I promise. But no, I changed my mind. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can go to my website. Hey, it's up. My website is live, RebeccaNorrington.com. RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RLNorrington, LinkedIn. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. And my YouTube channel, I have a few videos on YouTube. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. And my second book, Program for Happiness, is going to be out sometime this year. Now, I have a few people in the queue. If you want to ask a question, just press the number 1. Or else I'm going to end the show. And until next time, my dear audience, I want you to remember who you are. You're a physical extension of the universe. You're always evolving. You're always changing. You're always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality with yours truly, Global Happiness Specialist Rebecca L. Norrington. Have a conscious week, and remember, happiness is a practice skill. Oh, I have a question. Hold on. Let me go to my question. I love getting questions at the end. Hold on. Oh, I got a few people now. You know, why is it that everyone wants to talk to me when the show I'm ending the show? That's okay. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me go to area code 951. What's your first name? Welcome to Reality Spirituality. Hi.
Hi, it's Nathaniel, Rebecca. How you doing?
Hi, Nathaniel. Welcome back to the show. I'm glad you said you had a question. What's your question? And wait, before I go to what's your question, how did you feel, or what did you process, or what did you practice since we talked last week?
You know, I'm not sure of all that. I'm not really sure. I'm just trying to get by here. Just trying to be happy.
Okay, so when you say you're not sure, when you say you're not sure, so that means. Go ahead.
The world, yeah.
You're not sure. So, in other words, you didn't do or practice anything
different. Trying to stay in a state of happiness and not, worried about all the problems that the world has now.
Well, let me say this. You are absolutely right. It is hard to stay in a state of happiness when you're looking at the world and you're focusing on the world. And there is a lack of trust that everything is in order and everything is happening. And you and I don't have any control over what happens, but we do have control over ourselves and our own vibration. So in a state of worry means that there is a lack of trust. Right?
Right. I think that, do we really trust our governments, at this point?
No, I'm not talking about trust. No, I do not trust a man. No, Matt. No, I'm not trusting a human. Trusting a human? No. Why would I do that? Why would I trust a human? I don't even trust my own son. Meaning, no, I can't trust my son. No. So, never trust human. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah.
So see, when I say practice, I'm really talking about what can you do? What action can you take? Because there's either an action to do something different, or it's just a sitting in what I've done all the time and not doing anything different. That's why I asked you right off the bat, what have you done differently since we talked last week? And if there's nothing that you've done differently, that's okay too, but know that your happiness is your responsibility, not anybody else's, and only you can shift to feel. When I say happy, I'm talking about an internal peace. You can do that. You can shift. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's on you. When I point the finger at something outside of me, I got a problem, because now what's happening outside is affecting me. No, I'm going to be in a state of anxiety all the time.
I did do some meditation last night, and there was some yoga and some slow restorative yoga moves. It was wonderful. I was watching the TV, and I realized, I'm just going to shut off the TV and let a little cool breeze come in through the window. Just, close my eyes and let it all go. And, into some yoga. And I went, wow, I used to do yoga a lot more, and I got out of it. Just having to work so much for a living and everything. And, it was so restorative. And,
Nathaniel, listen. You know what, Nathaniel? My whole body is chilling up. My whole body is chilling up. Because when you were talking, I mean, that's what I'm saying. What did you do? And you just gave yourself a gift. See, your whole vibration shifted, your whole energy shifted when you were talking about doing this yoga, and you said you used to do it, and you just gave yourself a gift. Now, I'm up here cheering. My body is chilled. And did you celebrate giving yourself that gift? That's what I meant, doing something. Did you celebrate giving yourself the gift? You celebrated, yes or no?
Yes, I did.
Well, come on.
There were so much. I did, right? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Celebrate a little more, huh? Okay, I will. And I'll do some more yoga and some meditation. It seems the world right now.
And now you're smiling, right? There was a little smile there?
Yeah.
See? That's all I'm saying. The thing, one of the things.
In the world, you know, I've been focusing on some YouTube and Facebook things about the Illuminati and all the I'm trying to think, but I can't say it.
Yeah, numerology. I know what you're saying. Numerology. Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness.
So many things.
Okay.
There's still people saying them. I look on, YouTube or Facebook and saying, and, there's so many things going on in the world now that could make you fearful and uncertain, and,
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bible says, trust no man, but trust me.
There you go. And trust you, and know that the universe. I say universe. Some people say God, spirit, higher power. It doesn't really matter what term you use, but the trust. But the trust in the universe. I mean, there you go. So you have control over what you focus on. You have control, and there's a huge. I mean, it's a huge shift to either focus on what's wrong or you focus on what's right. It's very, very simple, and it doesn't seem like, I mean, you're a different person than you were last week. You go.
There's over 300 billion years of videos, and now we have with all this stuff. So there's way too much information out there. And we just need to, connect with the core, in meditation, and let the universe, God, or blah blah blah, just let it bring us peace, because you can worry yourself and think yourself to death with all the information out there, and be going to the next 300 million years.
That's right. And you know what? So now not only have you done something, have you made an action, and again, all worry is lack of trust. So your assignment this week is to ask the universe. It's going to be really simple. Universe, how do I trust that everything is in order? Universe, how do I trust that everything that is happening is for my betterment? That's it. That's your assignment. How do I practice trusting? Because all worrying is lack of trust. Trusting in, and now you've already changed. I mean, you've already made a change in 1 week. So that's it. And I say celebrate, and I also invite you to always keep me posted on your progress. And my whole body chilled up listening to you. Then that's it. It's something very, very, very small, because nothing has to change for you. Nothing in the world has to change for you to make a change and for you to be at peace. I love it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Nobody wants to press 1, because we're all getting chills out here listening to you and talking in the spirit.
Well, I had somebody press 1 and then they changed their mind. So if anybody wants to press 1 again and talk to me, let me know within the next, 30 seconds or so, because I will definitely take your call. Nathaniel, not only did you switch it up, now I'm getting chills again, not only did you switch it up, but you also were helpful in sharing your story with everyone else that's listening to this. So not only did you do something for you, you did something, you gave a gift to other people. I really, really appreciate that, Nathaniel. You are very, very, very welcome on the show anytime. Thank you. And I want to find out next week, if you want to, but ask the universe again, how do I trust? How do I trust more? Okay? That's your assignment. Okay, what a great call. Okay, I have someone else. Let's see. Area code 203. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. What's your first name?
Hi, my name's Pat. Apologize, I'm coming in late to the show. Oh, I want to say, I don't know if you're signing off.
Hold on a second. Your name is Pat?
Yes.
Oh, hi, Pat. And by the way, the rules of this show, no need to apologize for anything.
Okay. You mentioned that you asked why is everyone calling at the end of the show. My blog talk shows that there's 44 minutes. Well, when you mentioned that, it was 44 minutes remaining of the show. I don't know if that's an error or if you're signing off early.
Oh, you know what? Oh, okay. So I need to make a change because you know what? You're right. I press 90 minutes. Yep. Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
You.
I thought if this has happened more than once, then it might be an error that you needed to know about. Okay, glad I mentioned it.
Yes,
okay, so
I'm glad you mentioned it too.
Thanks. Since I came in late, I'll have to go back and hear the show. But you mentioned something that really grabbed me in my chest, so I'm going to ask you about it. And I'm going to try and argue about it. Too.
Yay, I love it. Oh, I love arguing. Yes. Let's go.
You said you were saying something about no, don't trust Trump, don't trust a man, and then you said I don't even trust my son, and it just grabbed me. And I hear this a lot with people. That's how they see the world, and it distresses me because I believe in trusting implicitly. But tried to think, well, how can I argue this with you? And we what we want to do is put our trust in God implicitly. So if we are in God's image, or if we are to live God's life, why should we not put our trust in humans? I mean, my son devastated me 2 years ago, and we're still healing from it. But the devastation, as long as I'm willing to look at it and learn and pray and be open, I really got incredible lessons spiritually and through my own mind and through therapists that just, what a gift this horrendous, I mean, he pulled my heart out of my body, but what a gift, So I just get so upset when people say you cannot trust humans. It's confusing to me.
Okay. Let me. Oh, I love this. I love this, Pat. And let me be a little bit more specific. And let me be a little bit more specific. Okay. When I say not trusting, I'm talking about not trusting them with my happiness, not trusting them with my peace. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not trusting them with how I'm feeling. You said your son pulled your heart out, and all when I immediately went to, well, then you had expectations for him.
You're
okay, that's number
right.
one.
You're right.
Yes. Yep. So, now I'm getting chills again. So when I thank you again for forcing me to clarify it. And it's really a detachment from the people that, a detachment from the people that I love. And when I detach, I can love even more. So it's not
You're
about,
right.
And that's what I mean. All expectations, the surefire. There's only one way that you will never get your heart broken, that you will never be disappointed forever in your life, ever, is not to have one expectation in life or of people.
Yeah. Okay. And as soon as you explained it, I said, that's exactly what happened with my son. I had expectations, one from the wonderful relationship we had from day one to, becoming a mother now that needs to let go and separate to, his own issues. And, I was devastated because it was I no longer had the happiness that he used to give me. You're right. But now you're making me nervous because I'm really, 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 after 30 years of being single, really want to be in a relationship. I want love. I want friendship. I want to live in nature. I just want to have peace and be happy for the first time in my life. That's dependent on another person. So, again, I get confused.
Oh, okay. Did you say that's dependent on another person?
Yes, and I know I'm being very infantile. I look at myself as much when I say things and ask other people. I'm also looking at myself. So, I said that. I confess. Okay.
You know what? I don't like a lot of people, but I like you. No, I always a joke about not liking a lot of people. I really like. Okay, so let me share, because you said something that is parallel to my life. I left California 3 years ago, and I'm living in the middle of. Since 18 years of age, I said my family vacation in Yosemite every single year. So forest, the trees, the smell of pine, the water. I said, when I retire, I want to live in the middle of the forest. And I found this home, Pat, and this home is in the middle of the forest. Every window I look out of I got trees, and I just knew 3 years ago, this is the ultimate peace. Now remember, I'm a happiness specialist. I teach this shit. Excuse me, but I teach this stuff. And I'm in the middle of the forest, and guess what? It was hell.
No.
And let me tell you why. Because the forest and being in nature, listen, I get all of that, but that's not really where the peace comes from. I was looking for even more peace in the forest, and it just wasn't giving me. And I said to the universe, even to the point, because I was a real city girl, and now I'm here with wild animals and deer and frogs and lizards. Every time I went out of the house, I'm jumping, I'm screaming. I was a nervous wreck.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. And for maybe about 8 months, in fact, I put my quote-unquote dream house up for sale for 24 hours because I said, I got to get out of here. And it was a very, very small town, no restaurants, no shopping. I don't know. But see, the universe used this house as a carrot to get me here because I needed to learn more things. I needed to practice more. And they said, it's not the forest that brings you peace. It's not this house. It's not where it is. I mean, it's a beautiful place, and I have a running creek in the backyard. I mean, come on. It's heaven, right? But I joked and said, this is my hell, because my peace, I thought that it's the house that's going to bring me, and this is where I am. And no. And then let's go back to the boyfriend. Let's go back to the person I want to share life with, all that. I'm a single woman. Go ahead.
I got to add also, I've got my dog, and he is my breath, and I know I completely depend on him for my sanity, especially through COVID, and I know that's wrong too. I know it's wrong. I so depend on him for just to get through every day, COVID or no COVID. I've rescued dogs for 35 years, so there's another huge thing that I look at to make me happy.
Well, let me just give you my perspective, because I don't think that you're doing anything wrong. I don't think you're doing anything wrong, because that dog is there for you in this moment. See, the ego always makes us think that we're doing something wrong. The ego's always criticizing. I'm giving you an A+ for everything, Pat. I'm giving you an A+. That dog is there for you. That the universe is giving you that dog. Whatever is in our life, it's supposed to be in our life. And when it's not in our life, it's not supposed to be in our life.
Yeah.
So you enjoy that dog with no kind of negative. I know I'm not supposed to. No, the universe is giving you that dog right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No more criticizing, Pat. No more. You get an A+ for everything you've done and everything that you are doing. Period. A+.
But it's not an A. It's not an A+ because I stopped counting his age. It's almost every day I look at him and I'm full of grief. So I know I'm putting that on him. So I'm not. It's not an A+. There is a lot of dependence there.
Okay.
Again, I confess. This is confession time to you. I like you too.
Are you a New Yorker?
No, I'm not. That's funny. I'm in Connecticut, and I'll tell you, when I moved out to New Mexico, you just brought it back a memory. I was a waitress, and I honestly couldn't stand the stupidity of people there. And I think a lot of it was they had just flown in, and it was the altitude, which can make you stupid, to give them benefit of the doubt. But I walked by a table once, and I heard a witty joke, and it just, whoa, I haven't heard something like that kind of conversation. And I went back, and I said, I have to ask you, are you from New York? And they said, yes, why? What a difference in the wit, and the quick thinking. So thanks for the compliment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, New Yorkers are just, yeah, they have a vibration to them. They have a New York vibe, a New York swagger. It's you feel like that to me. But back to let's now. So we switch from the dog thing, and let's go to this looking for a man, wanting a man, or companion or whatever. Listen, come on. Let's be real here. Yes, I've told the universe, hey, where is the universe? Where is Prince Charming? But I still go back to if I'm by myself, if I'm single, there is a reason for it. If I get everything I need, the universe provides me with everything I need every single moment. If I don't have it, I don't need it. But my ego is going to tell me there's something wrong. My ego is going to tell me there's something missing. My ego is going to tell me, you know what? I remember saying this is a while ago. I'm lonely. My ego.
Yeah.
I'm lonely. Guess what the universe did? My son is living with me now. I'm not lonely anymore. So you get everything that you need, and know the difference between the universal voice and this ego, because the ego is very tricky, and it's always going to find a problem. It's always going to find something to complain about. It's always going to find lack. It's always going to say, I need more. It is the opposite. So I'm either vibrating a vibration of satisfaction, or I'm vibrating a vibration of dissatisfaction. It's either or.
Okay.
And
okay.
It
It helps to learn to associate dissatisfaction with ego. That's going to help me go forward.
Good. It's always
that also came up this week listening to another show. So that's interesting. Ego, something I need to look at better.
The ego is the cause of all of our suffering. The ego, the thoughts.
Yeah.
And so what I do with these thoughts that always tell me that there's lack, I need more. Come on, I have the same thoughts too. So what I do instead of identifying with these thoughts, I just witness the thoughts. I put, I don't know if you do theater, I just witness it and let it go. And I even have fun with the ego. Hey, ego, what do you have to tell me today that's going to make me feel bad? Oh, really, that much? And lighten up even with the ego.
Wow.
But just know that its only job is to make you feel bad as many times of the day as possible.
Oh, this is great. Then you reminded me, I woke up at 2 a.m, my computer's on, and somehow I get on an art thing, and I'm looking at it, And I finally taught myself to paint at age 48 or something. And one of the rules I gave myself very wisely was, you're never going to let your ego jump in on this. And I did pretty well. So I'm looking at this 5 steps to painting successfully. And the second was, do not let your ego get in. Or you'll never be able to be a two. And it was just so good to hear that again. It's very interesting. This is coming up. And there's a great book. I can't remember. It's a really wonderful book. It's I Ching, which I used to do all the time. This particular book just healed me of my ego. I need to get back to that book. Everything I do, it was always about, what's the little person in you trying to manipulate or wants or upset or oh goodness. I'd love to share it with you if you're interested when I remember her name. But it was a great, great, great book. Anyway, so
well, listen, you've contributed so much to the show today, not only spiritually and sharing your journey, but also practically, mechanically finding out that I'm putting the wrong time on the show. So
yeah,
which
I'm glad
makes
to
a
help
lot
you
of
with
sense.
that. I'll ask you one quick question. I was going to ask you initially, and then I thought, no, I don't even want to look at this. But the one question I was going to ask you.
Let's look at it.
Okay. Holding grudges. And I wanted to say, okay, I'm not calling in as a 26-year-old that wants to take care of holding grudges. I'm talking about deep, deep, deep that I've tried to, and I think I've worked on and succeeded at, and I still find after 67 years, there's some kind of major, huge block of holding grudges that I don't know how to get rid of. I don't know how to stop. I think I'm stopping. I work every day, on it. I pray, I this and that and so on, and yet here I am still, maybe even getting worse because I'm getting older as things start to cement, as you get older.
Dig in, deep-rooted.
And I absolutely need to completely get rid of that for my life and even for these times. This is something that we've, there's so much healing and there's such a different position that we all need to take to go forward. And that's not it. So let's talk about, first of all, is the grudge against one person or many? Oh no, it's many, many. And when I was contemplating this the other day, I thought, okay, but do you get rid of grudges by healing? Is it that I've not? How do you get rid of?
Okay, let me share something with you.
Okay.
Yeah, let me share something with you, and then also because I want to. This is really, really, really good. Oh, I held the Guinness World Record for holding a grudge.
When I saw your face on Blog Talk, I thought, this woman, I can't deal with her. There's no way that she's going to be like me. I can't believe you held grudges. Look at your face and your smile and your enthusiasm.
Listen, but before I got there, I was a bitch on wheels. Are you kidding me? Holding a grudge, I was the queen of holding grudges. That's why I can talk about this, how to experience more happiness, because I was a miserable, judgmental, my way or the highway, opinionated, holding grudges, arguing. Oh, my goodness. And not only that, how about the revenge? Woo! Wait!
Yeah. Wow.
Come on.
What a transformation, my goodness. I mean, honestly.
Well, and the reason why is because of my son. Because at 12 years old, he when I met my best friend at 12 years old, my son came home with a D on his report card, and he signed his own name. And he signed his own name because he was afraid of my reaction because I said, bitch on wheels, okay?
Wow.
One of those. Yeah. And so he signed his own name, and my best friend told me, he said, that's your fault. He can't talk to you. Is your fault. And as soon as he said that to me, I said, no, I need to make a change. I didn't make a change for me. I didn't make a change for me. I made a change for him.
Yeah.
He's my only son, and I wanted him to be able to come to me with anything. And so now I have to go looking in the mirror, and that was, listen, I'm 65 now. I'm 65. And so that's 12, when he was 12 years old, and he's 35. So that's a little bit of how long I've been.
Oh, I get this completely. And I'm sorry to interrupt. I get it so completely. My strength I had as I raised my son. When I had to pick him out, when I went to New Mexico, when I went into menopause, I lost my strength. It was gone. It was through him. And, I hear you so much.
So let's go back to...
I would do anything, and I would change for my son. I changed completely for him to be a better person for him. I get it. I hear what you're saying.
So I love the compliments about the smile and all that, but trust me, well, you already know it. So let's go back to this grudge thing because I'm really about problem solution. So let's first of all know this, that all grudge holding and all of that stuff is all authored, designed by the ego. The ego wants you to hold a grudge. The ego, that's fuel for the ego. The ego does not want you to feel good. It's authored by the ego. That's number one. Number two, the other thing that this was really something that changed. I remember my first book, I wrote a short chapter on forgiveness. And then someone later told me that says there's no such thing as forgiveness because there never are any mistakes. So now I have to shift my perspective on forgiveness. And the thing with this grudge holding, letting go of a grudge is lessening the power of your ego. All suffering is coming from the ego, and the less power that the ego, the more you starve the ego. So you have two entities. Let's just say you have two entities. You have let me just use an animal. You have a wolf, which we're going to say symbolizes the ego, a wolf, and then you have I don't know what's a nice little. I don't know. You have what's the opposite? Well, let's say rabbit. I don't know. A rabbit. So no, scratch that. You have two wolves, okay? Two wolves. Forget the rabbit. That was bad. You have two wolves, and both of them are hungry for food. One wolf represents your ego, and the other wolf represents the universe. Well, what wolf is going to survive? The one that you feed the most. Right. So I would love to get specifics on the grudge holding only because that helps me it helps me be clearer, but I don't need specifics because this grudge is really a letting go of the ego and saying the ego. And so, listen, I have a woman. Well, actually, I was married to have a husband and ex-husband now. And then when his father died, I was actually there the day before he died. I going to the funeral, and because of the divorce and all this kind of crap, one of my sister-in-law, ex-sister-in-law, says, I don't want her. She didn't want me at the funeral. She didn't want me at a funeral. I was not able to attend my father-in-law's funeral. Okay, holding a grudge. I would go out to lunch with that woman. I'm not holding a grudge against her. My own mother gifted the family house to a handyman. I can't hold a grudge against her because I'm feeding the ego. I am not consciously going to feed an ego. I can do it unconsciously, but Pat, you're conscious now.
I think, as you were talking, I think the base of it is fear. And I guess maybe the fear is...
Fear of what?
Fear of what? Oh, my God. So many things have happened in my life. I even had a well-known writer. He was going to write a book on me, and he came back. He said, I can't do it because people are not going to believe that this is not fiction. He was a nonfiction writer. He said, people are going to think this is fiction. That was at age 26. I've had so many things, unbelievable things in my life. And, you know, I've been in therapy my whole life trying to resolve it and get past it, and still, you know, still I'm finding, wow, how come? How come?
How come what? You're holding a grudge, or how come it happened?
No, how come? Yeah, I understand all the things why things happen. Absolutely. I just learned that lesson that you were talking about, you know. I just thanked my father and mother for all that they did in being the mother and father and bringing me hell, because that's evidently what I needed. So I get all that. I've done forgiving and all that. I'm paralyzed with fear. It started at age 3 or 4 or 5, and I think that's the base of it. So I almost feel like I need to hold up the airplane by waiting for the world to attack me again, to remember the grudges, you know, to not forget, you know, like Madame Lafarge in Tale of Two Cities. I don't want to forget because I'm so afraid I'm going to get hit again.
Okay,
and I'll tell you,
go ahead.
I'll tell you, I was making really good progress and healing, and in August I got a stroke. And even with that, I said, you know what, a bit of bitterness broke off like the plaque and flew away, never to return, and I'm grateful. And then, you know, just other things happened, and then due to negligence, my mechanic or his employee blew my engine. And this is where I'm just stopped. And I finally said, God, I can't believe it. Finally, at 67, I have this infantile thought that you're really out. So I'm still afraid, letting go of all the past grudges, forgiving, and so on and so on. I'm still afraid. I'm still shown by the universe. Bam, bam, bam. It's not safe.
Well,
so,
yeah. Well, and you know, fear is also another of the ego's tools.
It is the ego. I know. I know. I'm just so confused.
Well, let me see this. See, the thing, you know, the interesting thing about you, and when you said you can't give yourself an A+, you really can't give yourself an A+. Your ego won't even let you give yourself an A+. And so this whole thing about letting go of fear is going to happen, but it's just going to be very gradual. And this you know, the ego says that, you know, when it's going to happen. And the patient, you know, before letting go of anything. Before letting go, there is an acceptance of it. There is an acceptance of your fear, sitting in acceptance of it, welcoming it. This is it. So the total acceptance, and then the shift happens. And here we go. This is what the universe gives to me a lot. So say, let me just say a health issue. So say I one of my legs, and you know, I'm limping on one of my legs. So now limping, and I used to, you know, teach a really hard fitness class. So now, you know, getting older, a lot of body things. So I have a leg. Let me just say I start using a cane. I'm not using a cane, but let me just say I start using a cane because this leg, blah blah. And then I asked the universe. I said, "What's going on?" And then they said, "Oh, you're telling me that you're not going to be happy if you're using a cane." You say, "I'm going to say that you're going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life." So you're saying that because you're going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
So the first thing is because it feels like I don't know if I'm right, I could be off, but it feels like you want it gone, you want it gone, you want it gone. But at this stage, there's got to be something, because what if you don't have any fear? The fear is bringing you something, is what I want to say. I know you've heard that before. The fear is bringing you something. Without the fear, what are you going to do? I mean, what am I going to do without having something to say that there's something wrong? What am I going to do without the focus on something that's something wrong? Then what?
That's hard to believe, because I do remember who I was at the beginning of life. I remember the joy and so on and so on. But I want to ask you, if you can imagine the fear, what I learned when it was difficult to do meditation, and I kept feeling so bad, and it was difficult to have therapists go me into a nice memory and so I could relax and be safe, and I'd get so frustrated with him, and I finally realized and explained to him, imagine someone that's got PTSD out in the wood, will not let anyone come within 500 feet without shooting them. Someone would try to imagine someone with PTSD. It could be the most dangerous thing for them to relax and meditate.
That's right.
That's kind of where I am with the fear.
Okay.
I honestly do believe I don't want it. I want that child that loved God and was connected to God and had the wisdom and had joy and was fickle, and I want to get back to that. I really do, because that will give me the eyes to see the beauty in the trees again. Even when I want to be back in nature, I said to myself, are you going to be able to be happy the way you were as a child? You know, what are you going to bring with you? So
that's right, and you will bring everything that you have right now.
That's right. That's right. I know. Well, this is all interesting. I guess we've gone beyond your show. I don't want to keep you, but this is phenomenal.
Well, yeah. Well, what I'm going to do, because the show's going to be ending in a few minutes, but what I want to do is also, I don't know if you've gone to my website, but I do have you can go on my website and you can contact me there. It's RebeccaNorrington.com.
I've got it. I see two huge smiles.
Uh-oh. And now you listen, and now you know what happened before all of that. Well, I've always smiled, but underneath the smile I was miserable.
Okay. Actually, I'm on Facebook, but I will go to your site. Yeah. Okay. I will, definitely. And
well,
and I'll
it is
come
a
back
pleasure,
to you.
and you. Yeah, and you know, it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure, and I love our conversation. And not only did you share with me, but you shared with everybody that's listening. So thank you for your gift. Yeah. And please call any time, please.
I will.
Contact me if you feel inspired.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay.
Wow. You know, that's the beauty of the show. I just have to thank Pat. I've been putting this minutes in, and it's been long. So I have to thank her for that. And also thank you, Nathaniel, for contributing to the show. You know, life, we don't know what we're going to get, and it is a roller coaster. When I say the blame game, you know, the blame game people play, it's not your circumstances. It's not the relationship you do or you do not have. It's not the election or the price of gas or the weather. It's not your health or the aches and pains in life. It's definitely not money. It's not how you look or how much you weigh. It's not your children. It's not your parents. Your happiness, first of all, happiness is a practice skill. It is a practice. Depends on what you practice on a daily basis. You want to feel different during any moment, during any challenging moment, you can. Look in the mirror and choose a different perspective. Elevate your consciousness. Grow. Be different than who you were last week. And you know what, Pat? I want to say something else. I forgot to give you your homework assignment. Your homework assignment is to ask the universe, how do I let go of this fear? How do I let go of this fear? That's it. You just ask the universe and let it go. Because whatever you ask, you always get an answer. So again, Reality Spirituality, thank you for listening, everyone. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. wow, I'm just energized. I'm just all energized by the show, and I want to thank Nathaniel for contributing, and I also want to thank Pat for contributing. So you've been listening to Reality Spirituality with yours truly, Rebecca Norrington. Have a conscious week. Happiness is a practice skill. What are you practicing?
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's the new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby.